About a month ago, we saw online, all of us, a video from Michael Johnson, him
Mm.
stating that he's going to come out with a track league. And now, fast forward, now we see all the headlines saying Michael Johnson has secured $30 million to be able to fund his track league. What do you feel about that? Andrew, what do you think, bro? Like, what's your thoughts on that? You obviously witnessed, what I'm saying, a lot of track meets, how track meets are done.
Hmm.
What's your take?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, I'm going to take a step back and say, for someone like Michael Johnson to be doing this gives me a little more optimism because this is a man who's been around the sport competing since the late 80s, early 90s. He only wins gold when he shows up at the Olympics. That means something. And he's been there during the big moments. He called Bolt's 100 and 200-meter world records. He was literally there. Just, I don't know. I feel like he's synonymous with the way the inner workings go, and also like what makes a performance a great performance. So, having said that, I'm optimistic um, with this early investment. There's still so much behind the curtain. What I really, really, really want is a step forward to all inclusive, non bullshit paywall viewership. That'd be one thing that'd be great.
Boom.
Um, Exciting, involved introductions for the athletes that are involved. Obviously, the camera work has to be good, but what I really want is just a more sharpened focus and streamlined track meet. I feel like a lot of times there's this temptation to overfill the space between events, and to no fault of any announcer or anything. It's just the way it kind of happens sometimes because you run an event, and then you got to take a break, go to another event. It's so XY, like ABC, just
Yeah.
in that. Well, what I would love to see is just more of a, it's hard to describe really, but more of like a focus on the athletes and like seeing what they are doing and giving them that proper intro. And then, ultimately having athletes compensated to what they deserve. I'm tired of, I can't remember who it was, but they showed like a pay stub. It was like a pro, maybe it was Kyrie King, like a couple weeks ago,
It
showed like a
was. It
pay
was
stub.
Kyrie King. Uh huh.
I don't want to, I mean, I'm not trying to, talk down about anyone's paycheck, and the way the sport works is kind of the way it works right now. But I would, these are the athletes that are at the top are like the best pure runners, jumpers, throwers in the world. And what we need to do is find a way to elevate that status. And I mean, hopefully this can do that. I could ramble on about this for a long time because there's still so much to know, and there's so much that I would want in track, but I want the athletes to be compensated. I hope this can be a push in that direction. And, from like a creator perspective, I want a conversation to be had where there's uh, potentially royalty rights to grab to help this sport be promoted for almost free. Well, it wouldn't be free. I'd be paying you for the footage. But like, you could help grow the sport that way, in such an easy way to do it. I would love to, if Michael Johnson, if you're watching, we really need to have a conversation about this because the NBA does this, the MLB does this. You want to grow the sport, then actually have it meet more eyeballs. You might already know that, but that'd be a great step forward.
I
I
would.
think one of the biggest things in our sports is the transparency of finances
Mm.
between the meet promoters saying what they receive to pay to the payout. Also, I mean, in every other sport, not saying that it's anybody's business, in any other sport, mostly the salaries that are being when they sign an athlete, they say, "Oh, so and so has been signed for this many years and this how much money." I feel like
Mm-hmm.
our sport is so hush hush on that side. Like you hear whispers of what somebody might have gotten. This more so is why is it like that? Nobody knows why it's like that. You know what I mean? Only agents know, but it's no real publication of finances, which makes what makes it real shady to me sometimes.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You say they don't know why it's like that. I know why it's like that.
That's what I was
If
getting
you,
at.
if you if you separate the athletes and give them lack of knowledge, then you can control each individual, right? I'll
Mm.
give you a perfect example. This is an athlete who has won a major medal in competition at the Olympics. And they said to me less than 48 hours ago, I wish I understood the knowledge of contracts. Because if I did, I think my career would have been longer. You understand? Like It wasn't the fact of they got an injury. It wasn't the fact of they just got ran out the sport by faster athletes. It was a fact of they didn't understand the nuances of their own contract. And with that being said, the moment they have one little slip up, it was the end of their career. It was derailed. And that's sad because we look at these athletes as at the age of like in their early 20s, and we're all thinking, like they're all thinking, oh, I'm going to have a long, healthy career. And we have seen so many athletes who are showed so much promise. And then next thing you know, they're falling by the wayside. Maybe because they had a bad year, maybe because they had an injury and they never really could have bounced back from it, And now people who are their inner circle and their shoe sponsors have given up on them. So when you have athletes who don't have the knowledge of understanding their contract or their finances, and it's perpetuated by these agents who are pressing you with half truths and saying things like, oh, you have no choice but to sign with Nike. Oh, you have no choice to sign with Adidas. Not realizing those agents have a relationship with those shoe companies, and they don't want to create turbulence in their relationship with those shoe companies because you're just one athlete that they're going to have for the next decade or more. So they're going to have multiple athletes. They're thinking about their own interest, and they're thinking about your interest being temporary. You grab the money, everyone's happy, I'm getting paid, and your career is going to last this long, and I'm going to move on to the next athlete. That's how our system is set up. That's how our sport's set up behind closed doors. It's a sad thing to watch. And I really hope that someone like Michael Johnson, like you said, could come in and create some transparency and really elevate our sport. He is, for me, and I'm only saying this because I think he's at a crossroad. We know that he's a people's champion. He'll be remembered forever in our sport, right? Mm-hmm. For what he has done. But it's a difference between being the champion of the athletes. Yeah. When you're able to come back, reach your hand down from your success and say, hey, let me give y'all the blueprint. Let me help y'all level up in this game. You have nothing left to give in this sport physically, so at least you can give the knowledge. So I think that him creating this whole track league, I think he should be able to allow the athletes to be real athletes, to go out there, show their persona, and bring a whole different vibe and a whole different feel that we're all waiting for. Kind of like what you said earlier, Andrew, was like, I don't want to see results necessarily. I want to see athletes. I want to see track. That's what I want to see competition. I want to see character with that competition.